and I'd like to welcome you all to our Tuesday 1:30 p.m. session today, and we'll be covering the Indigenous people of America. So some history, connections to DC, some videos I hope you all enjoy, and stay on, and of course, share comments, ask questions. Love to hear from as many folks as we can today. I'm going to read our disclaimer. The WildTech DC Senior iPad program, its owners and presenters offer technical assistance, virtual health, well-being information designed for educational purposes only. You should not rely on the information, any apps or topics made by WildTech, including but not limited to mobile device applications and any social media pages maintained by WildTech, its owners or presenters as a substitute for professional medical advice, diagnosis, treatment, or legal advice. Thank you so much for letting me read the disclaimer. If you cannot see me, hear me, or see the screen, please let me know in the chat. I'd appreciate that. Let's make sure to keep our TVs in mind. So that way we can make sure we give ourselves and others the most immersive experience. And as always, I recommend you take notes or screenshots so that way you can review the information later on if you would like. Okay, to keep our meetings organized and avoid speaking over each other, have some etiquette as we always do, I just ask that you use the raise hand feature. You can either during and or at the end of the session, you'll have the opportunity to ask questions, share comments, anything you like. So I want everyone in Zoom to please raise their hands. You can do so. If your toolbar is at the top, you can hit more and then you can tap on raise hand. Or if your toolbar is at the bottom, you can hit reactions and then tap on raise hand. So if you had a great weekend, if you're excited for today's session or our week sessions this week, if you're looking forward to learning something new, if you had a great weekend, if you enjoyed it, if you're excited to be back in our classes, please raise your hand in Zoom. Okay, so far we're at 10 hands, love it. Let's see if we can get some more. But again, if you ever have a question, a comment, anything you'd like to share, please raise your hand in Zoom, okay? And we love to, again, hear from you, especially today. It's a lot of history, discussion, conversation. So we'd love to, again, hear from as many of you today as we can, okay? Thank you. We reached about 11, 12 hands. I appreciate that. And your efforts are not unnoticed. But again, we love to hear from you. So once you're called on, don't forget, to lower your hand at the bottom by hitting lower. And of course, not right now, but don't forget to mute yourself afterwards. So that way, again, everyone is able to hear each other's questions and responses, etc. So when you raise your hand, once you're called on, don't forget to hit unmute. When you ask your question, we address it. And don't forget to hit lower at the bottom. So again, let's all lower our hands. And at that point, don't forget to mute yourself as well, just so that way, again, everyone's able to hear. Okay, love it, thank you. We still have 2 hands up, 1 hand up, appreciate it. Don't forget at the bottom to hit lower to lower your hand, okay? If you want to communicate with others non-verbally, the chat is a great way to share a greeting, ask a question, send a photo, send your congrats, anything you like in the chat. You can access the chat by, again, if your toolbar is at the top, you hit more once again, and then you tap on chat, and then the meeting chat window will come up. And if your toolbar is at the bottom, you can hit chat, very simple, and again, the meeting chat window will come up. So either way, I'm gonna go to my Zoom right here, and I'm gonna hit chat. And at the bottom right here, it says tap here to chat. And I tap on that area so I can type in my hi, my hello, hope you had a great weekend, good afternoon, happy Tuesday, happy I Love Lucy Day, as we learned about in our daily email. Anything you like, hope you had a great Indigenous People Day, a holiday, anything of that nature, right? So today is, again, I Love Lucy Day, so I'm gonna use the search feature in the emojis and look for some TV emojis. There's one right there. So there you go. You can send a message in the chat with emojis, with text, with both. If you'd like, anything you'd like to utilize or share, it's very much welcome, okay? So I see here, hi, yeah. Love it. Thank you, Miss Rosemary, for your picture. Uh, yeah, happy Tuesday. Hello, good afternoon. Yep, let's have a wonderful Tuesday. Okay. Yep, good day to everyone. Love it. If you want to send a photo, just like Miss Rosemary did in the chat from your Photos app, you can hit the plus sign next to tap here to chat. And then I can hit photo and add any photo from my Photos app. So this was the flyer for our Maldives trip. This was something that one of you all shared. I took this screenshot right here of a recipe. So you can share one or more photos here in the Zoom chat if you would like. Again, it can be anything. It could be a flyer, it could be information, whatever you would like. So once you're in the chat, if you want to save a photo that someone shared, so like this picture right here, if I want to save this photo, I can hold it with my finger and then I can hit save image. That's how I saved that image to my Photos app, okay? If you want to reply to anyone's message, whether it be a photo or chat, you can hold, again, whatever you like to reply to. So let's go with this message right here, and then I can hit reply. And I can reply to that particular message. So I'm sending this one a heart. And look, it says one reply underneath it, okay? So you can specifically reply to anyone's message if you would like. And you can also send a reaction to anyone's message or image. So this one right here, Avant's image, I'm going to hold it. And I can use one of the emojis here at the bottom or hit these three dots and choose any of Apple's emojis to send as a reaction, okay? So that is how you save an image. It's how you reply to a text or image. And also you can share a reaction to anyone's image or text if you would like. Okay, so yep, I see all these messages. I'm able to take a look at it, throughout the session. So please share your thoughts in the chat. Anything you'd like to share, videos or any questions, please utilize the chat as well today. And if you could share maybe your sessions that you're looking forward to this week and why, I'd love for you all to share that as well. I look forward to our AI apps training, our trip to Madagascar, our session with Jordan in module 3, and our fruits and vegetables session. So any of those that you're looking forward to, please share that in the chat as well. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and get started. So we're going to be highlighting some different websites and videos and resources for you all today. So I really look forward to our session. So first up, we're going to learn about Native Americans in Washington, D.C. So Wikipedia is a great resource. We've talked about the app in some of our sessions that you can utilize just to learn some general information. So of course you can read the information here, straight from the website if you'd like, but I recommend you download the app, okay? So the great thing is if you're on a website or if you're on a page, of course, that has an app that's associated with it, sometimes it pops up. So I'm on the Wikipedia site, but it says open in the Wikipedia app. So sure, I'm going to open it in the Wikipedia app, but I'm going to share this article with you first. Again, so you all can read some additional things as well if you would like. But that again is a Wikipedia article. I recommend you all download the Wikipedia app as well, so you can fully take a look at it.
1624 map with the red circle to indicate John Smith.
Yeah, so I just had to close. I was doing some research before, so I just had to close it. But there you go. It takes you, that site that I just shared in the chat, it takes you to this page, again, on the history of Native Americans in Washington, D.C. I'm very blessed to have DC history as a required course here when I was in high school. So I was exposed to a lot of these ideas and things in school. So I really appreciate that because there is more always to meet the eye. And it's really, really important to look what and who, all of that came before us so that we can learn from it and have a better future, So yeah, the local history of Native Americans in Washington, D.C. dates back at least 4,000 years. So I'm going to try to go through as much of this as I can. But it's, again, a great resource. DC is a central location for regulatory agencies and advocacy organizations. Recently, it has also become a central location for political protests related to Native Americans in the United States. And you notice if you're in the app, if you're on the site, you have these little numbers that are next to some of the information that takes you to the reference or the source of that particular information, because anyone can edit an Wikipedia article. So it's always good if you want to, know more information or verify some information, you can look at the references that the people provide when they edit these articles. According to a 2019 US Census Bureau estimates, DC population was about 0.3% Native American, Alaskan Native. Today, approximately 4,000 Indigenous peoples live in Washington, DC. So again, who knew, right? This section right here is quite long, talks about early history, but it's, again, a very interesting read. So I'll take us on a trip through some of it, but definitely take a look at this article yourself for more information. But archaeological evidence indicates that American Indians settled in the DC area at least 4,000 years ago, close to the Anacostia River, right? Again, just zooming in on this image or going into this image, it's really interesting just looking at it here, seeing where some of the different places used to be called, okay? I like that the app has it. Another village was located, oops, my bad. Native inhabitants within the present day DC included the Nacotchtunk at Anacostia, who were affiliated with the Conoy. Another village was located between Little Falls and Georgetown, and there was a Nacotchtunk village called Tahunga on the site of present day Georgetown. So again, who knew, right? The Nacotchtunk were a trading people as they established on fertile land with nearby rivers. During his 1608 expedition, English explorer John Smith noted the prosperous Nacotchtunk and their great supply of various resources. They were closely associated with the larger Piscataway chiefdom of Maryland, whose Tyack, or Grand Chief, ruled over a confederacy of area tribes. In the 1650s, the province of Maryland began to experience an economic boom with the great popularity and demand of one of its cash crops, tobacco. This expansion necessitated vast areas of land being turned into tobacco plantations as the demand was exceedingly high. I definitely remember hearing about that again in school. So, and even this picture right here, Anacostia Island, which has since been renamed to Theodore Roosevelt Island. That's interesting. So again, looking through in 1663, Cecil Calvert, the second Lord of Baltimore, granted Thomas Dent an 850-acre tract of land named Gisborough on the Potomac River, which bordered the principal Nacotchtunk village. The colony, in such close proximity to them, now had the leverage to begin encroaching on their territory. Additionally, with the two groups now close to one another and in constant contact, the Europeans from Maryland introduced to the area a number of Eurasian infection diseases to which they had no immunity, including measles, cholera, and smallpox. As a result, they suffered a large population loss. Not the first time in history where two groups collide and that immunity. In 1668, the Nacotchtunk tribe, depopulated from Eurasian diseases, collectively relocated to Anacostia Island, which has since been renamed to Theodore Roosevelt Island. By this period, the population of local American Indians was only 1/4 of those that lived in the region prior to 1608. And by the 1690s, the population of Native Americans in the region had significantly reduced. And it goes into some modern history. Like, again, we know that 4,000 Indigenous people live in DC. There are some recent efforts to bolster awareness about the history of Indigenous peoples, as we're going to learn about today. DC Public Library has a special collection. In 2019, the Council of DC voted to replace Columbus Day with Indigenous Peoples Day. So it's been 5 years, which is amazing. There's a land acknowledgement in DC institutions. Different excavations have occurred in DC, different regulatory agencies. So I didn't know there was a Bureau of Indian Affairs, Board of Indian Commissioners, Opportunity, Wow, and there's an embassy of tribal nations here in DC. Didn't know that. So again, with this article, you can learn more about the monuments, museums, history of different things, anything Indigenous people here in DC. So I think this is a great resource to start learning more about it. Okay, so I hope you get to take advantage of the link here in the chat. So if you learned something new about Native Americans in Washington, D.C., if you enjoyed this article and maybe want to check it out some more in your free time, please raise your hand in Zoom. But again, just reading through this information, again, it brought back memories from definitely high school, but again, just learning more about our history and where we live today is a result of the peoples here before us. Okay, so thank you. I see we have about 8 hands or so. I really appreciate that. And thank you again so much for joining us today. Yep, thank you. Thank you. I do see we have 2 iPads here on the call, so make sure you rename yourselves, you all. Okay, thank you so much. I'd really love if you all could, again, make sure your name is showing in Zoom, okay? Thank you. And I see your comment, Anne. River Terrace was once, yep, in Indian territory. So thank you so much for sharing that. I really appreciate that. Next up, did you know that there is a National Museum of the American Indian here in DC? Very interesting to learn about it. So we're going to visit their website. Again, the National Museum of the American Indian. They have a spot in DC, but they also have a location in New York as well. So I think that's interesting. I didn't know that there was 2 locations for this. So I'm going to share the link with you all here in the chat in just a second. But look at that, National Museum of the American Indian. You can sign up for email updates. So when any new exhibitions or creations come, you can get notified. Here are some different exhibitions and events that are going to occur or have occurred. So there is a Dia de los Muertos exhibition event going on here in DC, 26th, 27th. There's the Narrative Art of the Plains exhibition right here. What's online? You can search their collections, their online exhibitions, their family. There's a magazine, American Indian Magazine, their mission, how to support them, and their locations, right? So again, the spot here is a National Mall on 4th and Independence Southwest. And again, they're open 10 to 5:30 every day except for December 25th. And if I even just tap on the address, it will take me straight to where I can get directions if you would like. But yes, about 4th and Independence, Maryland Avenue Southwest, that area, that is where the DC location is located. So if I go back up top here real quick, if I hit plan your visit DC, then there are some other options here, like you can look at the exhibitions, the collections, research, education. But if I hit DC, they have a lot of great information. So the entrance, safety and security. You can look at their activity center. So did you know that there was a Imaginations Activity Center there? Open Tuesday through Sunday from 10 to 4:30, different activities. We'll cover more in a second, but they actually have a Mitsitam Cafe open from 11 to 4 and an espresso bar from 10 to 5. The cafe, you see some of the food that they serve. Looks gorgeous, love it. That's the chef. That looks good, right? They have a museum store that's available. They show you how to get there by many different methods. Accessibility, there's wheelchair accessible, vision accessibility persons. They have a program as well. It says accessibility program they have there, and some frequently asked questions. So again, this is a great way to look at the different exhibitions. So if I go to exhibitions, hit DC, or even if I can see the different ones there. So wow, why we serve Native Americans in the US Armed Forces. Isn't that interesting, right? If I go back here, go to these different events or exhibitions, or if I look up online exhibitions, Look at this one. And ancestors know who we are. And look at that. It comes up. Black Indigenous women artists address race, gender, and multiracial identity in intergenerational knowledge from the curator. Oh, wow. Look at these beautiful artworks. This one's beautiful, right? This one's called Iris. Mothers Uplifting. Daniel. Rhoda, Richard, and baby Richard. Marigold. Ancestors know who we are. So yeah, you can see exhibitions straight from your iPad if you would like. There are different reflections, the different resources, additional. So if you want a video or read an article or even learn more, that is the exhibitions page on the website. So I'm going to share that with you all so you can check out their official websites. So interesting, right? I really enjoyed going through their website. And just to learn more about the Mitzi Tom Native Foods Cafe, this is one of their press releases. This actually reopened in 2024, and they have a new menu. And I think it's just interesting to learn more about it. It says the cafe will feature a refreshed menu developed by Alexander Strong, the new executive chef, organized into 4 stations. There's a campfire grill, chef table, 4 corners. Visitors will have a variety of options highlighting ingredients indigenous to the Americas, like fry bread and bison burgers, alongside new twists on favorite ingredients such as manumin or wild rice cakes with smoked candied salmon and Southwest lamb stew. Sounds so good, right? Supporting Strong will be sous chef Toshiba Vini, making the duo the first all-female team to helm a Smithsonian Museum cafe. Again, who knew, right? And the food looks beautiful, right? So that is, again, so far we learned about some history with Native Americans in DC, and now we learned about the National Museum of the American Indian, their cafe, but also some online and on-site exhibitions you can take advantage of. If you're gonna visit the site, whether in person or the website, view some exhibitions, check out the website for more information. If you enjoyed learning about it, please raise your hand in Zoom. But isn't that amazing? First all-female team helm at a Smithsonian cafe, and you're just learning that there was a whole museum, for it, with the exhibitions, with the different events that they have. I think it's quite amazing. So I hope you get to check it out in person. Let us know how it goes, or online with those online exhibitions and paintings and artwork. So it really feels like you're just learning more about the place where we grew up. So thank you all so much. You all can hit lower at the bottom to lower your hand. Thank you. And just go through this video. This is actually their opening 20 years ago. They opened. This is their opening ceremony that they had. So wanted a blast from the past. I hope you all enjoy, and just think of maybe some memories back in 20 years ago when it opened. Yeah, sorry. Oops. Let's see. Smithsonian Institution. 20 years ago. Yeah, their director, Richard West, watching a musical performance. It's a blast from the past. What is this? This is the procession continuing with a partial list of participants. But isn't that an amazing view? Just everyone coming together, for this cause, It's great just to see. Again, a little blast from the past of what's going on or what had went on in DC. So 20 years, if you can believe it, right? Thank you all so much. So the next up is a guided tour that you can take. This website I thought was a good find in regards to this. So this is called Pocket Sites. It's a website that has different tours that you can take, whether it's like you literally bring in your device or just learning more. So this is their guide to Indigenous DC tour. So you can learn more about some of the different sites here in DC, and they actually have an app that's quite amazing. So I'll actually showcase that app in just a second that you all can download. But once again, I'm going to copy the link so that way you all can check out this website if you'd like. But look, they have a guided tour. So they have looks like 17 different sites. So if I even zoom in on this map, look at all these areas in DC, I love it. So there's the U.S. Marine Corps War Memorial with Ira Hayes, or Theodore Roosevelt Island, as we learn more about, the Indigenous Peoples March, Mural Piscataway History and Culture, Dumbarton Bridge, the Embassy. Wow, the Spirit of Haida Gwaii, the Black Canoe. Interesting, right? Native American Veterans Memorial. So with the app, you'll actually really be able to take a guided tour. But if you want to just read more information about something like this one, Embassy of Tribal Nations. Look at that. It takes you to this website with great information. There's some resources like their official website, their opening. Wow, even a picture for them as well. So I really, really like this site. Has a lot of great information and a tour. So you can just learn more again about the different areas in DC that have some relevance to Native American history. So with this app, I really like this app. So even on the right-hand side, download on the App Store. If I tap on that, it takes me straight to the App Store and takes me straight to the app. So you can get and download this app so you can see some other tours as well. So I'm going to paste the link to that website, but I'm also going to paste the link to the app as well. So you can see some other guided tours as well. So I see all these chats, very interesting museum, visited many times. I love it, you all. Thanks so much for sharing. It's really look forward to visiting it. But if I open this app, this is the Pocket Sites app. And look at that, many different tours. If I swipe up just a little bit, look at that, Guide to Indigenous DC. So you can get the app or just read on the website, but look at the other ones. The story of Boxer Rebellion at the Arlington National Cemetery, Spooky DC, Georgetown DC History Walk, Georgetown University Walking Tour, the Cleveland Park Tour, UMD Tour. That's an amazing source website. So once I go through this, I'm going to paste the link to it in the chat. But look at that, I'm going to go to Guide to Indigenous to DC. And if you hit Start Tour, it will be a walking tour. It's about 9 miles long. It's about a 4-hour walk if you were to go to each site in succession, okay? But they have different photos. So look at all these different photos that they have. Many different photos, right? And you can read more, see the sites, and look, places you'll see. So again, you can go onto the app and read more about it from here as well, but also see some other guided tours. Look at that, Arlington National Cemetery. The guide here, look at that. Different grave sites of different presidents. Isn't that amazing, right? Georgetown University walk-in tour. Walk through. Early years, expansion, the second founding, the campus. Isn't that amazing? So Yes, with the app and with this website, again, I'm going to hit the share button here on the App Store, copy the link, and I'm going to paste it for you all here in the chat so you can download and see some other tours as well. So if you liked this, if you like this app, if you like the tour or being able to go on a guided tour yourself, whether in person or just reading more about the various sites for any tour with the app or with the Indigenous DC tour here in the chat, again, please raise your hand in Zoom. Again, if you learned something new, if you really like the fact that you can take a guided tour from your iPad, from your device, and it really showcases you can learn something new, and there's always more than meets the eye, okay? So again, in the chat just now, I put the website to the Guide to Indigenous DC, but I also put the link to the app, the Pocket Sites app, so you can look up some more tours if you would like, okay? Again, I see about 6, 7 hands. I appreciate that. Again, and I do see, again here, just make sure you have your name in Zoom. So again, I'm sending this iPad a message. So make sure you look at your chat, okay? But thank you. I see we had, again, a couple of hands, so you all can hit lower. Thank you so much. And before our video for today, this is some recent news, just happened. The Muwekma Ohlone tribe members traveled to DC and fight for recognition. So this tribe traveled from California Bay Area to DC on horseback in their fight for recognition. So we're gonna learn more about it here in this video. I hope you all enjoy and learn something new.
It is Indigenous Peoples Day here in California, while it's also been known as Columbus Day. Today focuses on the contributions of those who lived here before Europeans arrived. One Bay Area tribe still fighting for recognition. And as John Ramos shows us, they took that fight across the country on horseback, all the way to the nation's capital.
The Muwekma Ohlone tribe claims that its ancestral homelands extended clear from San Jose all the way to Mount Diablo. There doesn't seem to be any dispute over that, but as they struggle to gain federal recognition, the fight seems to be over whether or not they can open a gambling casino. They arrived at the Arlington Bridge in Washington, D.C. after a 2-month journey by horseback that started at the Golden Gate Bridge. The tribe called
2 months. 2 months on horseback, you all. Goodness gracious. They really are coming for a cause.
It the Trail of Truth as they crossed the country, demanding to be included by the federal government.
Muwekma Ohlone has been in a 45-year struggle to get really our existence acknowledged.
Once numbering nearly 30,000, the tribe has about 600 members remaining. Tribal chairwoman Charlene Nijma says the tribe was once recognized, but decades ago the Bureau of Indian Affairs ruled that they, in fact, didn't qualify to be on the list of government-sanctioned tribes.
We should have never been through the federal acknowledgement process, because that process is only for tribes who were never acknowledged by the government or who was terminated. Our tribe was never terminated, and we were acknowledged.
That means Muwekma has no sovereign nation status. In August, the San Jose City Council was considering a resolution supporting the tribe when they began getting letters from local members of Congress. Representative Anna Eshoo wrote, saying neither she nor the BIA dispute that the Muwekma are indigenous to the area. Quote, instead, the key question is whether the tribe constitutes a distinct and long-lasting sovereign nation entitled to a government-to-government relationship with the United States. Representative Zoe Lofgren had a more pointed message for the council. Quote, the council may wish to consider whether its intervention in this federal matter is appropriate at all.
And I've heard from every councilman, man and woman, saying, yeah, she's pressuring us to stop taking action on the resolution. She wants to kill it. And I'm saying, why?
Here's why. In January of last year, the tribe got a letter from 5 local Congress members that said, quote, we've discussed the issues relating to the Muwekma Ohlone tribe, and we agree unanimously on a crucial point. None of us want casinos in our congressional districts because we're concerned that gambling will negatively impact the communities we represent. With sovereign nation status, tribes have the right under California law to offer gaming on their land. The congressional delegation asked if the tribe would be satisfied with federal recognition if it excluded the right to open a casino.
And what Congress is asking of Muwekma is to give away rights of ours. And specifically what they're saying is, we don't want you to do gaming in the Bay Area. You've taken enough from us. You have taken our land, our culture, our language. You are not taking anything more from future generations.
That's why they came to Washington. They're hoping to get an audience with President Biden or Vice President Harris, because they already know how Congress feels about it.
Now, the San Jose City Council was supposed to consider the support resolution at a meeting in September, but at that meeting, the proposal was dropped without further action.
Yeah, so that's just, again, I'm just learning about this myself as well. So it's quite, pertinent that we just had Indigenous Peoples Day, because the fight for recognition is still here in 2024 by certain peoples here in America and the United States. So it just gives you a more of a worldview and a nationwide view of kind of what's going on with different cultures and people. So, so far we've covered some things regarding DC and Indigenous people. Of course, we're all here in DC, so it's so important for us to learn about our history. So again, we went over Native Americans in DC. We learned more about the National Museum of the American Indian and their cafe. We watched their opening ceremony. We took you all on a guide to some different sites and an app you can take advantage of to visit more pit stops and tours. And we watched this video on some recent news on this Muwekma Ohlone tribe fighting for recognition. So thank you again for coming on and for learning more about DC and Native Americans, okay? If you have any thoughts on anything so far, please say them until after our next video, so that way we can have a full picture of what we went over today. But any thoughts you can put in the chat or save for the end. But for the folks watching this video, our next video is going to be a documentary. You can search it on YouTube. It's called the Indigenous People of America documentary. So make sure you check that out before you come back to this video for any discussion for that documentary. So again, make sure you check out the video on YouTube and come back to this video once you watch the documentary. But please search Indigenous People in America documentary on YouTube. Recording. And again, I hope those that are watching on YouTube enjoyed the documentary that we just watched together, and really look forward to discussing it before we end for today. But again, so far as a summary, today we learned about Native Americans in Washington, DC, some history. We learned about the National Museum of the American Indian and their cafe. We also watched a video of their opening ceremony about 20 years ago, which is amazing. We went over a guided tour of Indigenous DC and some other tours you can take advantage of. And we watched a more recent video of what's currently going on in the fight for recognition for certain different tribes. And we watched a documentary on the Indigenous people of America. Okay, if you all enjoyed today's session, learning about Native Americans in DC and our history of everything from the Mayans to the Aztecs to the Incas to the Sioux and the Iroquois and all of those different tribes. If you enjoyed today's session, please raise your hand in Zoom. And would love to see your response. Again, if you learned something new, if you enjoyed today's session, I see all the chats here. I really appreciate that and the information. If you learned something new, if you learned about a new culture as well. So, I really love learning about history and what went on before us. So thank you so much for joining you all. Thank you, thank you, thank you. If you would like to share any thoughts or comments for today, one thing that you learned, one resource you'll take advantage of or take a look at, any general comments for today, please raise your hand in Zoom and we'd love to hear from you for today, okay? So again, if you don't have a question, you can also share any thoughts in the chat as well, but I'll be calling on those hands. So I see we have about 5, 6 hands, so just any thoughts for today before we end? but it was so fun to present and learn something new. And I hope you all felt the same as well. Hey, Anne, thanks so much for joining.
Hi, Alex. Yeah, I was looking at some of the artifacts and some of the beading. Unfortunately, my great 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 grandfather's headdress got lost in Cecilia, and then some of the other artifacts that we had, Indian artifacts, got lost in Katrina, unfortunately. But I still have one little artifact that was given to me for my 10th birthday. And so I have that. But it's interesting to know the people that were before us that were here. And you really, if you have never been to the Indian Museum, it's a must-see.
Those online exhibitions were looking great.
Yeah, but to go there and see, it's amazing. And I have a few Indian arrowheads and a piece of pottery that was dug up in my backyard, in my aunt's backyard, when they put in the patio. And they had to dig down, and somehow there was some stuff there. River Terrace has a lot of history. At one time, it was the Indian reservation, or a town, or whatever you want to call it, little place, and tribe. And it was a pig farm, and it was owned by Briggs Farms, the people who raised, who were the Briggs meat people.
Yes, everywhere in DC. I mean, there's so much history in all quadrants, all areas, and especially just that map in the beginning of that PETA article really just showcased where, you know, for the land that we have now, it used to be lived on and worked on and whatever else just years ago. So it's just an amazing feeling, and just we're blessed to be here today because of what you know folks went through. You know,
it's a city of a lot of animosity and craziness, but it's a city full of history.
It sure is.
And we do honor our heroes. I wish that they were teaching history like they used to teach it when I was coming along, because our kids are missing a lot.
Yeah, that's, you know, that's why we have so many resources today. So yeah, it's all about looking for the knowledge. So I really hope you learned a lot today, and I really appreciate you sharing.
I revisited a lot of stuff, and like I said, I've been in that museum several times. I just can't walk around it too much anymore. So I have to do it in a wheelchair now. But yeah, I used to walk all that with my mother, the Smithsonian's and stuff. So thank you. This is really interesting. Thank you.
I appreciate that, and have a great rest of your day.
You too, dear.
Next up is Miss Jeanette. Thanks so much for joining. Any general thoughts or any comments? One thing that you learned today? Anything at all? Thanks so much.
Yes, I really enjoyed the program that you presented today. I really appreciate it. My grandfather was Native American, and I had started to do more about the history, but I never finished it. When you go and look at these sites, they always want money to do it. But I really want to do more about that. Being a substitute teacher and being in the classrooms, growing up, they didn't speak about Native American history. And of course, it took a long time before they spoke about African American history.
Certainly.
So it would be really nice if they did that. But I really am really interested now in knowing more about my Native American background. But I really
Yes, ma'am.
thank you so much because it was very interesting. I knew there were a lot of tribes. Some of them I recognized the name,
Yes. Yeah.
but some of them I had never heard of before.
Same
And
here.
they always pictured them in the movies as they're horrible, terrible people. But as it says, they were no more different than the Europeans in the way they fought.
Yeah, they had to survive, just they had to figure things out, it makes you think of the luxuries we have today. And again, we're just so blessed. And how where life could be, we could have to do that every day in a way. We have so much access to technology and community and resources today. It really just makes us you want to do more because we have you know the the luxuries and the capabilities and this time. So it really makes you think.
Yes. Thank you so much.
No problem, Ms. Jeanette. You have a great rest of your day. And thank you so much for the questions and comments. Any others before we end for today? Please raise your hand. We love to hear any thoughts, any comments on the session, one interesting thing you learned, anything you would like to share, please raise your hand. I really liked from the documentary learning about the cotton and salt water, where if you put salt water in the cotton, it makes it harder. I think that's what they said. And the leaves for pain, the cocoa leaves for pain. That was very interesting. So thank you. Wow, we got a couple of hands. So just about a minute a hand, you all. But any general thoughts or comments on the session today? But let's keep that in mind. Okay. So first up, Yvonne, thanks so much for joining. Really appreciate it.
Well, thank you so much, Alex. This was ever so interesting. I found myself taking notes as if I were in a classroom because it was truly a classroom for me. And I put in the chat how the current Secretary of the Interior, the U.S. Secretary of the Interior, is a native of New Mexico's La Guana Pueblo tribe. She is the first to hold a cabinet post among the first Native American to hold a cabinet post. And I learned about the differences and the similarities of all of these different indigenous tribes of the Americas. And it was ever so educational. It was worth it. And I put in the chat how the architecture of the museum down on the mall, every aspect of it has something to do with the earth. And they mentioned in part of what you showed us, how the doors always faced east so that the sun would come in early in the morning. Yes. And every feature of the agriculture in the museum down on the mall, there's an explanation and a reason for it. So it's to be really looked into. But thank you ever so much. This was just, a gem for today. And I look forward to exploring and looking at the Wikipedia information in more depth. So thank you, Alex.
Oh, no, thank you. I really appreciate your kind words. And I think just the history of that video and everything, these people had a reason for everything. And they had, it had meaning to it. And that's what I really appreciate. You got to find meaning in what you do. So they really did and made the best of their situation. So I'm really happy that you recognize that as well.
Absolutely. Thank you so much.
No problem, Yvonne, and my pleasure. You'll be a great rest of the day, okay?
Thank you. You as well.
All right. Next up is Geraldine. Thanks so much for joining. Any thoughts for today?
Yeah, well,
I saw you was having fun. I saw you.
Yeah, but I I enjoyed the whole presentation. I learned so much. And some of the tribes I had heard of, the ones that in the Southwest and
Mm-hmm.
upper Northwest. And then I learned about the Incas and the Aztecs. You
Yeah.
know, they were advanced.
Gosh.
They did brain surgery
Mm.
and they used mathematics. So
Yes. Uh-huh.
they were really advanced. And as someone said, they were just as advanced as the Europeans were.
Mm-hmm.
And so yeah, so I learned so much that it was yeah, just a lot to take in today. I've been to the Museum of the American Indian. I only went once, but I enjoyed that, and it's a good museum for everybody to go and visit. You'll learn a lot and see a lot of artifacts in there. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, so thank you for this presentation. It was very good and enjoyable.
Well, once again, thank you so much for the kind words, Geraldine. And yeah, it's every culture has something to provide and something to share and something to give to the world. So I feel like as we, do in our sessions, everybody and every place and culture has something we can learn from. So I'm glad
Right,
that you recognize that.
right.
Thank you, Geraldine. Have a great rest of your day.
Thank you.
Next up is Miss Dorothy. Thanks so much for joining. Any general thoughts or comments for today?
Yes, I really enjoyed that document. Very interesting. And I learned a lot today. It was really, I'm going to try to see if I can get my granddaughter to take me to the museum.
Yes.
To get me out to the museum. I have a little walker, but maybe she'll be able to get me out to go to visit. I don't know why that phone started ringing. That's not the phone. But anyway, that's all I wanted to say. And I wanted to tell you, I wanted to ask you about with the question I had for this when we started this morning. Remember, I was trying to get on the help desk, but I'm not able to get on. And I wanted to ask something. It'll go off in a minute. That's the house phone. I want to ask you something. Is it any way possible that I could get one of these young ladies that's been on here for over a year, if I could put my number in the chat thing, and they could call me and kind of give me some pointers to help me catch up with the rest of the group? I've only been on for 2 or 3 times, so I'm a ways back.
I understand, Ms. King. So everyone is a different part of their journey. So I highly recommend you call our help desk or email us with the number or email that you see on the screen. You can also email myself if you want to relay the message.
Okay.
But as in regards to if you the chat is really for you all to communicate and share your thoughts. So that's you can do that. There's nothing wrong with that. Just keep just keeping things in mind and sharing your information. So but yes, call our help desk, watch our YouTube channel for any topics, any videos, and just keep coming on Zoom. The more that you come on, I know it may feel like a lot, Miss King, but keep coming on and you'll learn more day by day. Okay.
And I told you my granddaughter did something with the YouTube. Is it back on, or do I have to go in the app store to get it to put it back on?
So try joining the channel from the email and seeing what it says when you're on that page. Okay.
All right. Thank you, Alex. Thank you so much.
No problem, Ms. King. Have a great rest of your day.
You too. Bye-bye.
Next up is Miss Louise. Thanks so much for joining, as always. Any general thoughts or comments for today?
This was very interesting.
Thank you.
I wanted to, maybe I missed it. What do they use to determine, what criteria they use to determine who they sacrifice, like the kids and all those? I mean,
I know.
that hurt my heart.
I know it was. That's why at the end of the video, the guy, who created it was like, hey, I recognize some flaws, and those certainly were some flaws, but also the strengths that they had as well. So, throughout some of the tribes, they kind of mentioned like the heads of the other tribes that they, win the war against, or, but especially for, the kids and, the other persons, who knows, but,
I know that
they
part
had their
I was
reasons.
a little scary.
I know it made me a little, uncomfortable in a way, but history might do that because that was again thinking now versus then, and how the world was back then. It's again, it's a blessing we're here today.
Probably was normal for them.
Yes. I know, right?
That was very good.
I really appreciate that, Ms.
Thank you,
Louise. Thank you
Alex.
so much for joining.
You're welcome.
And our last hand for today before we end is from Mr. Adams. Thanks so much for joining us. Any general thoughts or comments for today, sir?
Yeah, I never realized how much of agriculture they really were. All the different tribes, both of them different part of the country that they lived in, how they adapted to their surroundings. You know, and that was the amazing part. That they were not so much warriors, but they were people of the land, and they were, they helped each other. They traded with each other. You know, and every now and then a little fisticuffs, but that was only boys being boys.
Yeah. They had to defend themselves, just like, us, all countries and nations, they had, I love the agriculture, but they, needed some kind of defense, to stay alive and keep the culture going, literally.
I'll just have one little crazy question. I don't think there was an answer to it, but I don't know. But I'm going to ask it anyhow. I didn't hear it in the recording. But I was wondering if there was a name to this country before it became America. What did the natives call it?
That's a great question. I'm not sure if the video specifically mentioned that. But let's see, what was it called before America? It's we're again have so many resources where we can do some these sessions. They for me they just bring up more questions and that I want to learn about because of just some of the general knowledge that was there. So it's just doing a simple search, and you could do it straight from your device, from your iPad. So if I go here, like, what was it called before America? And I can search it up here on my device. The land was known by a number of names, like United Colonies or the New World. We've heard of the New World. Turtle Island. It says this name was used by many Native American cultures to refer to the North American continent. Each tribe had its own version of the myth about Turtle Island and how it came to be. But we had Mesoamerica, literally, like South America, but kind of going into North America. There are many different names. It just depends on who you asked at the time, and it's great how you can easily look up that information. And wow, Turtle Islands, that's something else I learned new today as well. So thank you for asking that, Mr. Adams. I hope that also helped you out with your knowledge as well.
Yes, thank you.
No problem, Mr. Adams. Have a great rest of your day.
You too.
So once again, thank you all so much for attending and participating in our conversation, our presentation today. That was so fun, and learning more about our history. I hope it makes you, feel and makes you think, just again, of more questions, more things you want to learn about our history and who we came from. And I really hope it enlightens some things in regards to our history in DC and beyond. I hope to see you all on for our 10 a.m. brand new advanced session on AI apps. One of you all asked about more about AI. We'll be taking a trip to Madagascar at 12 with Lou, and our module on email, and our session with Jordan on the Canopy app at 1:30. So I will see you all tomorrow. It was a pleasure to present, and thank you all so much for joining, and I hope you have a great rest of your evening. Thanks so much. See you all later.
Thank you, Alex, so much.
Enjoyable, Alex. Thank you.
Everyone have a great
week.
rest of your day.
See you tomorrow.
Thank you.
God bless everybody. Have a
Bye
good
bye. Yes.
Bye.
See you all.
Bye-bye.
Bye bye.
Bye. Thank you.
Mhm.
Goodbye.